Yes. Here we are. It is 2020, and Sonic the Hedgehog has officially beaten Harley Quinn. That's right. Sega has beaten DC. Never thought I'd live to see the day. David actually mentioned this earlier in the comment section, and yeah, David, you're right.
I'll be honest, I had no idea what the Birds of Prey. Not only did I not know that it was coming out, I didn't even know what it was.
Number one, it's bad advertising because who's the main star of the film? Harley Quinn. Yeah. So why wouldn't you put it as like the liberation of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey? Why not call it that? Or Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, because Harley Quinn's the main star and she's like the moneymaker, because Margot Robbie, is like a lot of people nowadays, they see her as Harley Quinn because of her role in Suicide Squad, which, there's people who like it, there's people who don't like it, Nick for instance. And then me, I think Margot Robbie's a fantastic actress, but for what she did, I'm just like, it's okay. It's nothing really like genre.
It was
she was probably one of the better parts of that movie, but that's not
really saying much, because that was a terrible movie.
Really, the best part of that movie, I guess, was the soundtrack.
Oh no, the soundtrack was good, but I will say,
Queen, but
also some of the special effects were good. Like I loved the fire effects off of what's his name?
Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo. I loved that. I loved where like he turned into like the old school like Mesoamerican fire god, and he's just like, "Ahora sí, cabrón." I was just like, "Mother, let's go."
Got pissed off.
Yeah.
He didn't get pissed off the whole movie until then.
I know, and I'm just like, I can understand, but at the same time, it's just like, come on, man. I mean, you have to provide better character depth than just that. I mean, there's better ways to write characters in which.
That's what I'm saying, man. They got too much at once. You don't have enough time to get involved with each one of them. It's
leave it to Warner Brothers to not figure that out. Now there's people coming out of the woodwork who are saying that Sonic the Hedgehog and its success isn't really merited because Paramount actually listened to the fans of Sonic the Hedgehog and actually changed the.
So I haven't seen either one of them, and the trailer to both of them looked pretty decent. But is any of them any good?
Well, both of them actually got pretty good reviews across the board. Actually, surprisingly, Birds of Prey got really good reviews. It's got like a 77, but also I don't just look at the critic score. I also look at the audience score. The audience score for Birds of Prey, from what I understand, is in the 70s, so that's not bad. But the thing is, because of bad advertising, because of like terrible terrible press releases about how what you don't want to do is alienate probably one of your main fan bases. What a lot of people were saying about this film, like there were so many writers out there trying to champion this movie, is like it's the full hit back against patriarchy we've needed in comic book movies for a long time. And I'm like, you do realize that the majority of comic book fans out there are young men, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's female comic book fans. I've met plenty of them. I'm friends with a lot of them. But
it's like 9 to 1.
You can't alienate your primary fan base by displaying these articles, championing. I talked to Jacob about this earlier. There's like films that are like ultra macho, like friggin' Expendables and all that. And Expendables, never at one point in the movie do they say, "Oh yeah, women need to stay in the kitchen and the battlefield's for men." No, they never once in the movie said that. Don't get me wrong, I have my problems with the Expendables, but by comparison, if you're talking about like the ultra macho action film versus like the supposedly liberating film about women in comic books and everything, you're sort of causing a mixed message here that doesn't make a lot of sense and just alienates people instead of brings them together. Isn't bringing people together to unite for a character supposed to be what it's about?
Oh, they gotta have the She-Man Man-Haters Club.
Well, but I remember there was actually a bunch of people in media whenever Bohemian Rhapsody came out who tried to champion Bohemian Rhapsody. It's just like, Freddie Mercury was ours before he was ever yours, straight community. It's like,
oh wow,
where the hell did this come from? Like what? Like, I love Freddie Mercury because he's a great performer and he's one of the greatest musicians.
First.
But he was ours that before he was ever yours. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I love Queen's music. I remember listening to Queen with my dad when we went on road trips. You know, going down the road singing Fat Bottom Girls and friggin' Bohemian Rhapsody. But instead, no, people got to put a us versus them mentality in front of everything. Look, that does not sell tickets. That does not benefit anything. That does not benefit society. If anything, it just throws up more walls for people to cast stones at. It's impossible for people to get this through their heads. Look, the reason why Sonic the Hedgehog was a success is because the internet came together and said, hey, we don't like the design of this. Can you all change it?
For the love of
God.
God.
And look what they did. Paramount went back. The director himself, Josh Fowler, went and said, hey, we understand that you all are upset about this. We're going back and we're changing it. And they change it. And not only is, the people love the new look, love how things progressively look better, but also the reviews came out, and the reviews were actually pretty good. The reviews it's got like a 64, 65 on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score is over 90%. And that is exceptional, because to me, audience scores matter a whole lot more than critic scores, because if the audience likes it, that means more people from the audience are going to go see it. And I think people nowadays are getting more and more distrustful of like big media conglomerate critics out there who are told to say something for agenda set purposes instead. Because I looked it up, Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, like the two like cornerstone, like 10 years ago, those two were like the cornerstones of online reviews where you could go and find unsolicited online reviews. Now they are owned by big media conglomerate companies who deliberately censor bad criticism for the films in which they're related, for the films in which the movie studio and the media conglomerate own, that Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic are related to. It's insanity. Like, all critical opinions should be unsolicited and should be unfiltered and should be allowed to say whatever they want. However, it seems that nowadays it's just oh, you got to say whatever fits this agenda that we're trying to push with our films going forward. It's like you're only allowed to say good things about Marvel films. Imagine that. Imagine, a newsletter coming out to every person who worked at a company that offered reviews that was related to Disney. From now on, you are only allowed to say positive things about Marvel films.
Well,
I'm sorry. I can't.
Pretty soon,
quit.
Disney's going to own everything. So
Disney or Google. I mean,
although it seems like Disney Plus isn't doing so hot.
Well, Disney Plus. The thing is, now that the Mandalorian's over and people have seen it, there's nothing else to tie people down. Look, I know a lot of people are just like, well, what about the movies and what about all these other stuff coming on? There's a thing out there called online piracy that people have been taking advantage of for the better part of a decade.
No,
if people,
more than that.
Oh well, no, I mean
25 years.
Well, no, back in the day, yeah, like people like a lot, like it was privy to like a lot less people back then. But nowadays, everyone's aware of online piracy, and they're just like kids take full advantage of it. Like 10, 12-year-old kids go out there and they can find like full uncut versions of Star Wars DVD rips. Boom, file sharing like that.
Remember using LimeWire back in high school?
No, I did too. I do too.
I remember Kazaa after Napster, and then LimeWire.
Yeah.
And FrostWire.
Oh man.
ShareBear.
I really followed any of the pirate stuff after LimeWire. So.
Well, I remembered for the longest time Pirate Bay was like the top name in the online piracy community, and then of course there was what was the other one?
Which, if you're trying to like flag yourself as doing something illegal,
well, no,
go with that name.
Well, no, I know. Well, nowadays, yeah, because everyone's got eyes on Pirate Bay, but all these file sharing companies that were out there, they were in European countries, and the American DMCA really couldn't touch them until the international laws got signed in about 3 or 4 years ago, and then pretty much a cascade banning of all of them happened. Now there's still certain archival ones that are up that people still post stuff to, but it is very highly flagged.
If you set up your server in Mogadishu, Somalia, you'll be good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That and their like 56K dial-up connection speed. Yeah.
Your movie will be downloaded in 300 years.
Speaking of stuff, I need to relog my VPN on my computer since I've wiped it twice.
Oh, yeah? Well, I've got a VPN, but I'm also getting a cipher box because I just don't trust the internet because the internet can eat you alive if you're not careful.
It is getting definitely more disconcerting out there.
Well, okay, I need to talk about this. It's something I never thought I would do. Because Inside Gaming is a YouTube channel I'd been signed up to ever since like the early days when it was known as The No, back when Ryan, Meg, and Ashley were the main hosts on there. And over time, I certain stories they ran were cool, certain ones that were not. But then over time, some people came on that I was just like, I don't know about these guys. And then eventually, Funhouse took over it, and it was right when they bought the rights to the name Inside Gaming back from Machinima. And then, like, I thought it was going to be great again because, you had Inside Gaming with, like, all the original guys on there. You had Adam, you had Bruce, you had Lawrence, you had James, you had Elise, you had everyone who was involved with. I know Joel and Spool weren't there anymore because they quit the company at that time. But still, I thought it was going to be cool. And then all of a sudden, one by one, Lawrence left the company, Bruce left the company, James and Adam and Elise no longer appear on Inside Gaming. And now as soon as I read the story of them, I saw them posting the one about Sonic the Hedgehog. And about how Sonic's to blame for this one animation company in Vancouver shutting down. Like, the company didn't shut down. They closed that branch in Vancouver because the rent in Vancouver went up and they aren't renewing their lease. The company's still open, but again, Inside Gaming not doing their research, which I just hate the fact that people keep this up. They keep trying to push a narrative without actually presenting research facts or anything like that. Instead, they promote lies. They promote lies just to sell a point and just to try and make people misdirect people with incomplete stories. I hate that. Don't get me wrong, I make mistakes, and when I do make mistakes, I retract what I say and I rectify it later on. I rectify and I apologize for people that I misled and not deliberately. I indeliberately misled people with incomplete information. And it was like that with the Covington Catholic thing. When the Covington Catholic thing dropped, I was just like, oh my God, these boys are just like terrible. Why would they do this? And then the full 2-hour video comes out. Boy, don't I feel like a jackass. But that's a whole rigmarole of nonsense I don't want to get into. But yeah. So
I voted today. I went and voted early.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Early voter sign up.
Went down to North Carolina. It's my permanent residence is there for a reason.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you
drove down there and did my due diligence.
You did your part as an American citizen right there, Ron. You voted.
And unlike Iowa, you don't have to fucking stand in a group and do kumbaya and then have to stand in another group and fucking wait for fucking the powers that be to completely disregard what you want. So
well,
it's good.
Yeah, I haven't voted in the last few elections because honestly I just don't like politics. Period.
The thing is,
people out there disenfranchised with politics as is.
Yeah, well, the thing is, though, for my view on it is that there should be a requirement to vote, as in you could get fined if you don't vote, but there's an option on the ballot that so basically says you abstain.
Well. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. You should not be forced into doing some. Here's the thing. We in this country, people didn't die so we could vote. No, people died so we had the choice to vote. That's the main point. And look, if I don't, I know there's a lot of people out there who say you have to vote, you have to vote, you have to vote. In all honesty, if you have full autonomy over yourself, you should not be required to vote.
Well, I'm just
Well,
saying. I
to
mean,
me, not voting is pretty much part of the equation. They're expecting a certain percentage of people not to vote anyway. So
I mean, they're planning on only 40% of people at best showing up. The thing is, I think it should be like jury duty.
I'd say it's more like 10%.
Where I mean, I know, and nobody, your government leaders,
your commander in chief.
Well, I mean, not just the president, but senators and congressmen. I mean, that all does kind of hang in the balance.
Well, it does, but at the same time, it doesn't, because you got to think, like, I believe a lot of things should be voluntary, like, to begin with. For instance, Social Security and like paying in, like of course, if you're going to like pay I think income tax should be voluntary, and I think it should be up to you to determine what you want that to go towards. Do you want to go towards your retirement that is government fund, that is operated by the government, or do you want to go towards like your Medicare and Medicaid, your medical field for now, or do you want it to just be held back for you to pull out of whenever you want to, sort of like a pension?
The problem is though you're gonna have chaos if you have that. I mean, when you have that kind of decentralized disorganization, I mean,
no, because I think enough people will come together at the point to where they'll be willing to do that. Like I think at the point we're at now, it's an impossibility. Like, this is me if I'm talking building from the ground up, building a society from the ground up. I mean, if you want to have a government in some way that oversees infrastructure and building roads and schools and maintaining stuff, I think if a community can come together as a whole and see the benefits of everyone working together like that, then I think you could have it to where people could still maintain their freedom, because that's the thing people don't understand. You have to maintain freedom. You can't just get free stuff. You see, getting free stuff isn't freedom. Having the freedom to live your life as you see fit, whether you want to eat nothing but garbage, balloon up to 400 pounds, and die of a heart attack at 43, okay, that's your choice to live that life. But if you want to be a contributing member of society and you actually want to help people, manufacturing and experimentation and research and development into the future development of textiles, then they can do that. You see, it's all about community coming together through the will of progressing forward together as humanity. Whereas instead, what I see with a lot of stuff nowadays, people are being forced into doing it. They're being forced into. I mean,
you're talking about though, like it's similar to the argument of representative democracy versus direct democracy.
Yeah, representative democracy. That's what formed this country in the first place. You see,
but it's also in ways it's also led to a lot of the problems that we have now, because instead of having to get the millions of people on board, all you have to do is get the 450 odd people in Congress.
But you see that's how like a pure democracy works. Whereas a federal republic, what we have, you elect officials. You elect officials to do that stuff.
Right. No, I mean I understand the concept. What I'm saying, and don't get me wrong. I know how a direct democracy has its issues with the size of our country, the large amount of population that we have, and how distributed we are. There's obviously an issue that nobody's going to be able to stop what they're doing in the middle of the day to vote on whatever mandate 464, but
execute Order 66.
But one of the ideas that I heard was when people go to to vote for people and stuff, they also get to vote on their top 3 legislation type things that they want done. I know certain ones you can vote for city ordinances and stuff. They have voting for that, but on a national level, legalizing marijuana. If you want, if they put that on the ballot where pick your top 3 of these issues you want to be addressed in the next year or something like that. Marijuana would have been legalized 50 years ago.
Yeah. No, I don't doubt that for a second, especially if there wasn't false propaganda campaigns being put out there by the cotton industry. Yes, I know about that. But there's also the fact that without the government being the ones who are causing these propagandas to be spread in the first place, because of me, I think lobbying with money should be 100% illegal.
Right.
Lobbying with like big checks that you bring to the government and are just like, yeah, we want you to vote for this one. Here's a check for you to vote for us. And then whoever has the biggest check wins. Instead, it should be who makes the best argument, who makes the bet, for me, like every lobbyist who argues for nuclear power wants power to be readily available ubiquitously to everyone in the country. However, coal and natural gas, and now green, like the green people who are all for like the green renewables, which truth is, they're not 100% renewable because it takes a lot to build these things, and you wind up costing more money to build these things than what they actually produce.
But the price is going down, and as
not
oil
at the rate where it'll be feasible within the next 20 to 30 years.
Well,
they're saying it could potentially take 50 years before it's up to up to snuff to actually catapult past cost versus energy production.
Right, but at some point there is not going to be oil and coal anymore.
Well, I know there's not going to be oil and coal anymore, but nuclear material can potentially last forever.
Right.
Especially given the new Triton reactors that they're building in China right
well,
now,
and ideally,
which are absolutely ridiculous.
What is it? What's the fusion reactor they're building in France?
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
but France.
The demo, I think, is.
Yeah.
That one's I think they're supposed to like hit first fusion here in like a year or so.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
it's amazing stuff, and also it's a lot cleaner than it. Look, don't get me wrong. I know renewables 100% don't put out any emissions. Period. But neither does nuclear. The only thing that nuclear produces is waste, in which we have ways to dispose of that.
Yeah,
and also there's also nuclear reactors out there that can use that said nuclear waste to also create energy and create even less nuclear waste.
I'm not on the side of get rid of nuclear power plants. They bad.
Because if anything, it's proven that the Fukushima disaster, which is the second worst in human history, Chernobyl's number one, which you want to know about Chernobyl, watch the HBO miniseries. That pretty much says all you need to say about the incompetence of the Russian government. But anyway, Fukushima is the second worst of all time. Do you know how many people died from radiation?
Maybe like one person.
Yeah,
right?
one. One died of radioactive burns, and he was one of the people that was in the containment unit when it popped. Mm-hmm. And everyone else that died was because of evacuation purposes that honestly didn't need to be done.
And also there's been plenty of people die of regular power company stuff too.
Well, and not only that, but also installing solar panels on top of roofs. More people die falling off of roofs installing solar panels than have died in the entire history of nuclear engineering in the United States history.
But I mean, I don't know what your views on it. I guess I mean I think. It is ideal for us to utilize resources that are just free and available.
Oh no, I agree.
The sun's not going to run out for 5 billion years.
But effectively, we've hit Moore's law in terms of where we can go with our current materials that we're using. Now, if we can eventually get something, say like the.
I think Moore's law only applies to like computing.
Not really. I'm talking like in terms of like progressively how much better something can get in the efficiency and also its energy output. Okay. That's what we've effectively hit instead of Moore's law, I'll say we've hit physics limits according to how good our materials can be.
Yeah, how efficient a solar panel is.
Yeah, how efficient a solar panel is with the cobalt and the heavy metals that we currently use with it. But that's nothing to say like carbon nanotubes and the future made of graphene won't be a lot more viable, and we'll be able to do that. But until graphene is readily available, we can't do anything like that. So why waste all this time and all this effort building stuff that is going to be in a landfill or in a recycling bin, 30, 40 years from now, instead of building nuclear power plants, which can last us for the next 300 to 400 years, while we get the carbon nanotubes made out of graphene ready to where we're able to progress and potentially build a Dyson sphere. Because they've said in order to potentially build a Dyson sphere, we'd have to excavate, currently with the materials that we use to build solar panels, we'd have to excavate mercury. We'd have to excavate literally all of Mercury to build the Dyson sphere. Right. Instead, whenever we build graphene, whenever graphene is readily available and readily able to be produced, then we'll be able to build the Dyson sphere, and it'll actually be able to absorb the heat and absorb like the radioactivity a lot longer than the current materials that we're using. Now,
that would still probably require breaking down mercury.
Well, it still probably would, but at the rate that they're saying, it would take a lot more time versus what it would take with graphene, because graphene, it naturally absorbs the heat, and actually you can unifyingly direct it with how you put it together. They've actually shown how the carbon nanotubes work like that.
There's a lot of properties of graphene as far as like the thermal conductance and stuff like that. This is like in Axiom, like everything has graphene or carbon nanotube, just because there's so many fucking awesome properties.
Well, and you see, that's what really doesn't make it science fiction. It makes it science futurism, because you're looking to the future and you're hoping that this is where it goes. That doesn't necessarily make it fiction. Instead, if that does become that, then holy hell, Aaron, you've seen into the fucking future.
Oh, well, because, I mean, like in the story, like clothing and stuff, just basic T-shirts and jeans and stuff, those all have it's basically a graphene like, you know how you had like the Stone Age, metal, Iron Age.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the graphene.
Yeah, now we're in the modernist age where we still have textiles and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, what you're talking about,
with
we'll be able to do graphene.
With graphene, what you could have is a shirt that has electronic logos that can animate and stuff on them.
I can't wait for shit like that if I'm alive for it.
Your T-shirt could basically be a battery.
Yeah,
that you wear.
Long ways in the future.
You know, graphene, like if you combine it with carbon nanotube and like a stacked structure and everything, there's a lot of cool structural and electrical properties with it as far as like holding electrical charge and stuff. You could use it to charge your phone.
Yeah, and it's beautiful
to absorb solar energy. I mean,
and that's a beautiful idea, and I'd love for that to be. Possible in our timeline. I don't know if it will be. No. They're saying they're making big breakthroughs with graphene, but they're saying within 50 years you'll be able to do stuff like that with graphene.
It's hard to see how quickly things move when you're right in the middle of it, I guess. Like, I mean, as far as it's a process. It's going to take time, you know. But hey. Well, 20 years ago, you would have been.
Well, this is impossible 20 years ago.
Neil deGrasse Tyson said, like, if you had taken this back into the 90s, they would have fucking burned you at the stake for witchcraft.
Yeah,
or something.
Exactly. Everything readily available to you right here on this little screen.
We actually had touch screens during the 90s.
Well, you did,
but you didn't have it with a
pocket.
More or less the 70s.
This is like 3 million times more powerful than a Windows 95. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I know.
It is.
I'm talking about like before computers.
Oh yeah. Well, before like computers were readily available to the public, you know, if you went to like 1974.
That speech where he said that it was in 2002. All right. You talking about never mind. You're thinking of the Neil deGrasse Tyson one where he talks about the iPhone, right?
He mentioned it. I think it was
Resurrecting the Witchcraft Trials.
Yeah,
that one. Okay.
Yeah,
never mind. I thought you were talking about.
I think he mentioned on like Stephenville there or something.
Yeah. But overall,
he's had a lot of speeches. I've sit there and watched a lot.
These things that people talk about, talk about how we need to go renewable now. With the current way we have things made, that is impossible to meet the physics limit of what we do or of what we have versus what the energy demand is of everything out there. Can we make things more energy efficient? I think so. I think we can make a lot of things more energy efficient, but I think for now, if we had nuclear power plants, like if every state had their own individual nuclear power plant, or 2 nuclear power plants, depending on the demand that had to be met, you know, that's just like Germany promised to go no nuclear by 2024, I think, and now their emissions they thought, our emissions are going to go down because we're switching to wind and solar and all that. Their emissions have gone nowhere but up. Whereas France, on the other hand, who gets 70% of their energy from nuclear, they have the best emission records in all of Europe, and it's all because they don't do the fear mongering that we have here in the States. Like, we'll have another Chernobyl, or we'll have another Fukushima.
Germany wants to have it both ways, where they want to cut back on they want to shut down all the coal plants and stuff like that, which is
totally
reasonable.
No, it is reasonable.
But when you're trying to do that and shut down your nuclear power plants and you don't have enough of the renewable infrastructure up, then
it's not even producing 7% of their power grid.
Right.
And they're going to be in trouble if they shut down their nuclear plants by 2024.
Now, here would be my counter argument, because you consider yourself a libertarian, right?
That's in a lot of ways, yes.
It would be an argument for nuclear versus renewables.
I can see a future with both.
Absolutely, and that'll be the case. A nuclear energy, that's a lot of infrastructure, a lot of investment that has to go in, and that makes whatever communities that power plant has to serve, it makes them rely on it. Whereas, if you have your home that has, the roof is covered in solar panels and maybe you got a couple of wind turbines, not like the big three-bladed fans.
No.
I don't know why I haven't seen more development of the vertical ones. Those things look fucking sci-fi.
Well, the vertical ones do a lot of power. The reason why you haven't seen a lot of it done is because it did not rise at the physics limit to which to meet costs and demands for research and development. However, I could still see people I could still see it could be done
because they take up a lot less infrastructure and you don't need to build.
Well, the primary reason why nuclear reactors are so expensive to make, especially here in the States now, you know why that is? Legislation.
Okay.
Legislation has made it to where nuclear energy costs, according to the federal government, pretty much for the cost to build versus the final cost, the cost to build it is anywhere from $30 to $50 million, depending on the materials they use and depending on the power output that they want to go with, the infrastructure setting all that up.
Right.
But the federal government has made it to where that would effectively cost, due to supposed health regulations and everything like that, they're going to start charging everyone. Like 1/4 the amount of which it would cost to make. So instead of $30 to $50 million, instead it'll cost $120 to $200 million in the final tally.
Right.
And it takes time to build these things. It takes time to build them safely. You can't just rush through it and just pour a slab of concrete and put some nuclear isotopes on top of it and just say, okay, we're done. No,
Chernobyl too.
Yeah, no, you have to do 4 levels of containment now, which it's gotten a lot easier to do. Ever since they've done the heavy water containment systems that they have in France, which are top of the line when it comes to nuclear engineering. I think in terms of that, we should invite French nuclear physicists over here to help us make that stuff more possible. And also the nuclear reactor you talked about, more personal nuclear reactors and smaller ones that can actually be used on a more communal scale instead of the bigger scale.
There's the thorium reactors that I've heard about.
The thorium.
I don't know exactly how advanced that stuff is.
Well,
that would be more realistic because that's something where it doesn't emit the dangerous type hard.
Oh yeah, it doesn't emit as much nuclear waste. But by comparison of the nuclear waste that most plants produce nowadays versus back in the 60s, it's infinitesimal.
Well, yeah,
by comparison.
because we've become a lot better and more efficient.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, as far as ultimately, at the end of the day, that still centralizes that power energy and getting that power to places. I mean, you're losing a lot of every mile that electricity has to flow through cable. You're just wasting energy because the resistance in the cable.
Yeah, unless you have a transformer that meets it part of the way and it keeps it going. I get what you're saying.
But whereas renewables and stuff, you can make that a lot more independent for people where they want to make their house with solar and have a couple wind turbines. So it does give people that freedom.
Well, it does.
To generate their own power. And if they produce enough of it, to sell it back to the community.
Yeah, to sell it back. Yeah, exactly.
So,
and get a credit. No, I get that. And for that, I am 100% on board. As a matter of fact, my dad is 100% on board with going solar and going, he wants to build his own house. He wants to drill a well. He wants to have a filtration system for that well. He wants to have, nothing but solar panels on his roof. He wants to do what Tesla's done. He wants to go through them and get his roof put on and everything with the solar panels built in. He wants 2 big battery banks on his walls. And the thing is, I think it is possible to have both, because if you have nuclear there as the backup instead of these coal plants that crank out enough energy but yet put out more carbon emissions than what they're worth, I think with what you can do is have people with their own individual systems, but as you know, scientists have always said before when it comes to this stuff, you know, the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine. And
but that's where the battery, because you get a lot.
No. Well, the batteries though, they aren't as dependable as you think. Now, because batteries degrade over time, and they also.
I know Tesla's making.
Well, no. No. Tesla, they're like top of the line when it comes to like battery processing and how to make these batteries that will last a long time. Now, there is an experimental one that scientists at MIT have come up with that's non-corrosive and actually can be used to power a grid of a city the size of Boston. They've actually shown how it's Boston at Harvard Yard, MIT, and all that. Yeah, you got to put your khakis in your khakis. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, with the whole thing being feasible, people being able to buy their own solar panels for their roofs and everything, Tesla has made it to where that is possible, where you can actually buy one at regular commercial price, and you don't got to pay an arm and a leg to have it made. But everything degrades over time. Everything. Solar panels, batteries, the wires in your house, everything degrades over time. Now, replacement and everything like that, thankfully Tesla has a plan in place to where once your panels stop where they've degraded to the point where they're not able to produce, say, over 85% efficiency, then they actually come and they replace them. It's pretty much a replacement warranty, I think, of over 30 years. Now, batteries on the other hand, like solar panels are a lot easier to recycle than batteries, because batteries have a lot more heavy metals and acidics in them that, if left out in ruin, could potentially cause like small ecological disasters. Right. Now, what you have to do is take into account what nuclear gives is pretty much an unlimited back supply of energy with a degrading isotope that will not degrade for the next 500 years. But again, I think people should have the independence of their own to have the renewables available at their own leisure whenever they need them. And I think
people having their own stuff also acts as a backup in case the nuclear power plant.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a storm that takes out the power line, and instead of being out of power for 3 days, now you got your own power.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with that. I agree that.
But I think we can agree.
Oh yeah.
Fuck oil and coal.
Well, oil and coal had their place for time, but as the way the world is now, and as you see, they're non-renewable and everything like that. You have to eventually cut the cord. Eventually, and it has to happen sooner or later.
Nick? Huh? How many memes we got?
One.
One?
Thought I heard 2. I heard 2 donations.
No. Let's play.
All right, play it up, man.
There was a second one.
Oh, okay.
The first one was from Hard to Convince Anakin with a $3 donation.
Hard to convince Anakin. Anakin!
Yo, the Sith, they ain't ever gonna return. You, my man, have lost.
No, you will die!
Goddamn! Anakin! The man is shooting lightning out of his hands! Anakin! Is it really that hard to see how evil this motherfucker is right now?
Anakin, please, don't let him kill me. Oh, I'm so weak. Annie!
Oh, God.
What in the hell?
I am going to end this now. No, he must stand trial. Are you fucking kidding? Ah!
What have I done?
What have I done?
Well, the music is horrible.
He broke.
God. What did I just watch?
You have officially watched the dumbest animated Star Wars thing you've possibly ever seen.
Maybe it was, yeah.
Still better than Last Jedi.
That goes without saying.
4 out of 5.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. What was it? 7.3 out of 10. Too much water. Fuck IGN.
So I have 2 again. The next one is from the Gaming Warthog.
The Gaming Warthog. Okay. Bah, 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 bah. Sorry, I'll stop. I'll stop now.
No.
It's back!
It's been a while.
It's back!
It's been a minute.
I'm not a good elf. I'm not a good goblin. I'm a gnome. And you've been gnomed. I was wondering if it was going to go into the never going to give you up, never going to let you down.
It's been a while since we got those.
I don't know.
So this is from Super Renegade Ramble.
Oh.
Donated $3, and this is called Super Renegade Brothers Ultimate.
I'm interested. I need to see this now.
This before.
Oh my God. Yeah, Ben wrenches his way in. Oh God. Get it, Quinn! A new challenger approaching. Caleb! Oh God. God, dude. Old memes. Old
As you can
memes.
see, if you check our new banner, the lineup is considerably different.
Yeah. Our new banner.
Go Power Rangers.
It kind of is a Power Rangers now that you think about it.
We do have like at least 3 like honorable guests.
Yeah.
Weeks or so.
Yeah. I mean, Quinn, Kinsey, and just Andrew, and also Roan here. He's on the podcast with us and everything. He's been in reactions with us. I'm a part of the group.
Also from Hard to Convince.
I have friends. Hard to convince Anakin.
Palpatine's gone making
Oh, here we go.
Is he? Through forward motion, he laid his well now. Thank you. You were on this council, but we
do not
deny you the rank of
master. What?
Video talk.
What?
What?
That's absurd.
Why? Why, because you're a little baby boy, you pug-faced bitch. I'm no little baby boy. I'm the big manly man. Boy, is you. Grown from you have to be. How is Yoda a master when he can't even say sentences? Hold your tongue, you tiny prepubescent boy. I mean, he speaks English, so why can't he just say the sentences correctly? You do not. You do for now. What are you even saying? I'm so confused. Me, Hayden Christensen, the actor. Have a seat, babyface Skywalker. So I'm a Jedi Master then. What in the hell is wrong with this boy? Master! No, is he? Okay. It's settled then. I'm a part of the council. Yes, that is correct. Yes.
George Lucas.
And I'm also a Jedi Master. If I wasn't so damn peaceful and in line with the Force, I'd get up and I'd smack the shit out of you. No way with their Jedi. I'd like to see you try, you old bitch. Gentlemen, I believe we are getting off topic. We still haven't discussed the droid attack on the Wookiees. Right, you is. Go now, I will, to Wookiee. Good relations I have. I'll go. I am good friends with the Wookiees. Anakin, stop trying to correct Master Yoda.
God. All right, so These
gaming weren't hard donated $1, but no meme came with it.
Oh.
So it was just like if you meant to send one, then DM it to me.
All right. That's
Oh.
okay.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, there's a few things. I mean, first off, what was the big thing going on right now with dang it, big thing on us right now, the short film that we're going to be working on. Can't reveal much details of it, but we finished building the encasing of the set.
I saw pictures of it. Did you guys bring a truck or anything to get
No, not today. I'll probably come up sometime a little bit later this week. But yeah, overall, it's been a hell of an ordeal trying to get this out because we've had to battle fiberglass, especially Jacob. It almost ruined his jacket. We've had to battle.
I didn't ruin it. Just gotta wash it.
I know. I'm just messing with you. And also, just getting everything right. I mean, we got a lot of the props in. We've got
a lot of trial and error until you figure out the ways to actually set it up, and it's like, it's just a little battle. It's all mind game though. Lots of trips back and forth to Lowe's
with certain things in tow. And it's been a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun building this, and I can't wait to see what the hell it's going to be. What the hell it's going to be like, because it's been fun doing this. I mean, I've had a lot of fun.
And spray paint.
Oh yes, and spray paint. Yeah, this man and his spray paint. He spray painted something silver.
Did you use? Oh, I thought you were talking about like the walls or whatever.
No. The walls. We're debating. I don't know about the walls. You think we should keep them the same thing they are, or do you think we should paint over them with like a light base or something?
I think they should be painted, but we need to kind of figure out what first.
I mean, it's kind of like a hard gray or something from the images, right?
Yeah. It's Micah's
foam walls,
dark, really dark gray foam. But I've had a blast doing it, and I've also my cousin Zach came over. We shot bows and arrows and everything at Micah's place, and if y'all ever wanna see us do a bow shooting video, I mean, let us know.
I'll bring my bow for that shit.
Oh, you did? Oh, you got one?
Yeah, you haven't seen my bow?
Oh, is it a recurve or a?
It's a compound.
Okay, yeah, Zach's is a compound. His is a 70-pound draw.
I'll show you. I was about to get up and go get it, but I'll just show you.
Oh no, yeah. Zach has two actually. He's got one for him, which is a 70-pound draw, and one for his wife, which is a 45-pound draw. He bought it for her, and he loves both of them.
I'm kind of hard at gauging it, but I think mine is 70 pound.
Yeah, Zach also has a really cool firing mechanism. He's got the clip, the clip trigger, and he loves that thing. I love it too. I mean, it's really accurate considering what it's firing a bow. Because we also used different types of arrows. We used aluminum arrows, carbon fiber arrows, and we even used mostly fiberglass arrows. And I gotta say, those fiberglass arrows, Jesus, we had one. It was one Micah had. It was really long. It was a really long one. Its main decal on it was orange, but it was the longest arrow we had. And we fired it, and as soon as we fired it, I didn't think I hit the target. I saw it like dirt fly up behind. I'm like, crap, I missed. It just went straight through.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, this thing can stop a crossbow. This arrow went straight through. Holy hell!
Yeah, arrows they carry a shit ton of kinetic energy behind them.
Oh yeah. Oh, and Micah's got a basic recurve bow, and that thing's pretty cool too. His is like a Mongolian style. He loves that thing. He's like I'm a Mongol. Just like, and he has these arrows. They're the triangular arrows, the ones that with wounds you can't sew up.
Basically, they go in like the hook end kind of.
Not really like that. Instead, they're really pointed like this, and they're three-sided. They're like a diamond head.
Oh yeah, okay.
They're like a diamond head tip, and firing those is a lot of fun too. Although we do lose a few of them because Micah's shop is in the middle of a forest, and I don't want to. I remember shooting one. I was like, ha ha,
going forever.
And Micah's just like, it's cool, man. I've got 50 of them in there, and I'm like, Oh, thank God. And then I shot another one, and it hit a railroad cross tie, and it shattered. And I'm like, and he's just like, that was cool, man. I'm like, I feel like an idiot because I missed. But by the end of like the day, I was getting Micah's recurve bow down pretty good. I was just like, all right. Yeah! Like there was like I took like 6-7 shots in a row and I didn't miss the target once. I was like, ugh. But yeah, also bit of sad news I was paid privy to. My family dog, who's been with us 18 years, Bella, they found a cancerous tumor on her spleen, and she's pretty much gonna be put down on Friday, and Mom's really torn up about it.
You said that dog was 18 years old, right?
18.
Damn.
She's up there.
Life.
For a dog, yeah, that's immense. And she's been she's had 2 cancer scares on us previously, and she went through both of them. And she's just always been a very, very like chilled out dog, always just like wagging her tail. She's never met a stranger. That's the thing with her. Like every time someone walks in the door, you expect the dog to come and be like, bark, bark, bark. Instead, she walks up, tail's wagging, she comes right up to you. She's like, hey, I don't know you, but can you scratch my head? And that's just how she is. And I told Chad, and Chad loves Bella. Chad, he's actually known Bella a long time, back when I lived up on Gibson Avenue a long time ago. Holy crap. That was actually that first house we owned Bella in. And I remember Chad came over, and he actually stayed with us for like a few days because him and his family wasn't doing so hot. So he stayed over at my place a little bit. Chad got drunk off his ass, barfed in my front yard, almost broke the door in, and he fell asleep and passed out in the studio that we had downstairs. I had a little cot laid out in there. And Bella came downstairs and hopped up in the cot with him and laid with him. And he woke up and he was just like, he said when he woke up, he was just greeted by these 2 big puppy dog eyes right in his face. And I'm just like, oh, man. Because I had my door closed. He had his door wide open because I knew if he needed to get up in the middle of the night to puke, he couldn't be bothered to open up the door. So he just like, I left his door open, and across the hall was the bathroom. And I left both doors open so he could just have a straight shot in. But thankfully he didn't have to. But yeah, that was Bella. Bella's a good dog, and Mom actually asked me to go through my phone and like go through all my pictures on Facebook and get them together and send them to her because, you know, she wants to get every picture she can together. And she's actually having Paisley, my niece, my youngest family member, to come over and like have some pictures made with Bella before Bella passes away because, you know, Paisley loves Bella because Paisley's known Bella a lot because Paisley mostly stays over at my mom's house a lot of days, and she calls her Bab, 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 Bo, Bo, Bo. She didn't call her Bella or anything like that. She called Bell, Bell, Bo, Bo, Bo. Like she can't get it straight for a second, but yeah, it's very somber. But yeah, I've already cried about it, man. It's hard, but at the same time, you know, she's had a good life.
Well, if it uplifts your spirit at all, 3 of our female cats are apparently pregnant.
Hey!
Oh. So we're about to get a whole 5 times more kittens, and that is going to drive me insane. Because we got enough cats as it is.
Trust me, dude. Where my mom, she has that cattery. She made the very, very bad mistake of having 3 cats pregnant at the same time, all giving birth within 3 days of each other. And I remember the first 2 litters, Mom was just like, oh my gosh. 3rd litter, she was just like about to go stir crazy. She's like, I can't do this. And I actually had to help her deliver the last litter all the way through.
I mean, the thing is too is we don't know how the other cats are gonna behave around them, so we have to put them. We're probably gonna have to put them in like separate rooms and stuff and keep them, isolated so the mother cats feel safe.
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna be a whole fucking.
It's gonna be an ordeal, man, but you gotta deal with it. My mom having the cattery and everything, she actually has the cats get out around Bella and get used to being around dogs, because Bella, she's lackadaisical. She doesn't care. She like comes up to the cats. She sees them as just other puppies. She's just like, hey, how you doing? just like nudging them and everything, just wanting to play with them. And now I remember We actually had 3 dogs when we lived up at Gibson. Daphne passed away first. She, the doctor who we took her to have her fixed messed up, and she bled out on us, and we didn't know this, and she passed away. She was only like 3 or 4. And then there was Rusty, who was an abused pup. He was a rescue. We got him, and he passed away about 3 or 4 years ago. And the thing is, we have all three of them came into the house together around the same time, and they slept in the same bed together. And my mom has this memory case, she calls it. We buried Daphne, but yet we kept her collar and like her little jacket thing Mom had for her, and Mom has it on like a little stand in there. And right next to it is we had Rusty cremated, and we got his ashes in a little box with a picture right there. And Mom just went out and bought another one of those boxes for Bella, and she's going to have Bella right next to both of them. So they're all going to be together again in some way. And I just think that that's a pretty neat thing my mom's doing.
I don't know if you've heard about this. I guess this company does this thing now. Like if you want, I guess, your remains to be like truly naturally like turned back into like natural.
Put yourself in a tree pod.
But yeah, like you can put yourself in like, I guess this what looks to be a big mulch pile in a box.
Oh,
and it'll basically decompose you in like 30 days or something, and you'll be turned into soil. And you can
Pretty much.
Family can plant you in the garden.
Me, I'm just gonna leave it up to my family what they want to do. I mean, if they want to bury me,
I'll be dead, so I won't care.
Well, I won't care either. I mean, just if you put, here's what I'm going to say: if you put me in the box and bury me underground, make sure I'm dead.
Supposedly, it's doing it that way, like the decomposing thing. It's I guess more environmentally friendly.
It is, yeah. I can get that. Me, just if I had my choice, cremate me and spread me across the country. I don't care. I mean, just like a handful here, a handful there, and then whenever you get out to the California coast, don't put me there. Instead, turn around and just say you're not worthy.
I will take the old Norse Viking kind of ritual.
Wow.
Send you out on a boat and like somebody
fire
fires
an arrow,
the fire arrow on it.
and then just like
I don't mind to do that, but I don't want them to sink the whole boat. Like that's too nice. Like somebody could appreciate that boat.
Like a massive waste of
they
resources.
only worked on the boat for like 12 years of work.
I know
we're just gonna sink the thing.
I know what you can do, Jake. You can do the raft. Like
there you go.
Like logs float up like that.
Couple log rafts, stick me out there.
Yeah,
it's gonna sink, but it don't matter. I mean,
fire.
The fire will burn. I'll burn up before the raft sinks.
What other names we got there, Nick?
Yeah. I think we got like 2 or 3.
Man donated $5 and said, "Ever heard about a film that took 7 years to make? And Madhouse Studios, and check this out."
It'd be cool if they could launch me to Saturn. I want to be the first man on Saturn. I'll be dead, but still be the first man on Saturn.
Oh yeah. This took 7 years to make? Holy shit. I heard about this. I heard this is a really good movie.
Someone's having doubts, huh? Hell, I'm just trying to keep this thing interesting. Can't write you off. You're just a voice, pal. You don't know a thing about racing.
Yeehaw.
If Fast and Furious was a cartoon.
It's like F-Zero. That's definitely is like an animated F-Zero.
$7 years. It's pretty damn cool. I ain't gonna lie. Uh-oh.
That is a slow fucking missile.
Yeah, for real.
Well, you gotta think, they're moving really fast.
Yeah, it's not how it works.
No, I know. In terms of how physics works, you fire the rocket at a certain speed, it will add to the speed of which you are currently traveling.
Yeah, and they also travel at like Mach 10, too, depending on what you're firing.
Yeah.
Like in the movies, like RPGs, like when you see in Black Hawk Down,
Yeah.
they don't move that slow. They move like,
Yeah.
what is it, like 900 meters per second or something?
Yes.
It's like a bullet.
Very fast. What's up with you, girl?
I think video games have showed us where you take that and you can see it.
Yeah,
go
you can see the
flying,
smoke.
boom.
Smoke streak.
Nah, like it's gonna be
No.
like instant kaboom.
You know, I think if anything, we need to redub that and have Micah voice the guy in the car. And during that part where he's just like, he's like, what's up with you, girl? Because that's it.
Left.
All right, next meme.
Jerry the Hero donated $3 and said, "What if Disney tried to buy this?"
Oh God.
Well, 50-50 chance they'll drive into the ground.
I look like a gay Boy Scout.
We gotta blend in, Rick. If they find out we're here, well, this whole acquisition goes right down the shitter. They won't find out.
What?
Prince Vegeta.
You want to buy this franchise?
Prince Virginia.
Well, I have some demands.
What do you want?
I want to see Scarlett Johansson's fat tits.
Too late. They've already been shown.
Cash?
Don't lie to me, Mouse.
We can maybe swing one of Hillary Duff's titties.
No. Don't sign Vegeta. Toriyama. Toei Animation is just like, nope.
Goddamn Japanese businessmen! You ruin everything!
You ruined the Star Wars. You ruined the Lion King. You will ruin Dragon of Bird of G. That's what I was counting on. It's perfect, really. You get to Star Wars another beloved franchise, and I get to see one of Hillary Duff's Tig Bitties. Everyone wins, except
No.
Kakarot, whose brand won't be worth a nickel after the mouse milks him raw. Wait, Hillary Duff's still 15, right?
No.
Take me with you. I need to see Duff. Duff Smuff. Duff Smuff.
My
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Shut up, Vegeta.
How old is Hillary Duff now? Is she still making anything?
To my knowledge, no, I don't know. I don't care.
Like, I remember I was in like elementary school or something, or maybe middle
No,
school.
she was in high school in Lizzie McGuire.
No, I mean like I was in like elementary
Oh.
school or something when she was big.
No, dude, she's like a year older than me. She's like
Okay.
only 1 year older. She's 32 right now, I think.
Now she just got a whole entire website on maximizing the benefits of your grocery shopping list.
That's right.
Really,
She's
just
pretty much become like
amazing,
Susie Homemaker.
boring stuff.
Well, and here's the thing: it's her choice to have.
I'm not saying that she does have that choice. I'm just saying that's boring.
Well, yeah. But I got some bad news for Vegeta. They've already Scarlet's have already been shown multiple times. Actually, you don't actually have to pay Disney to see them. You can actually see them yourself. Just they're out there.
Just out of research. What movies were these?
Oh my gosh! All right. I know the ones. I just had to look up her
nipples.
filmography.
Them
No,
nipples are CG.
I need to know these movies for research purposes.
Of course. Let's see. But, yeah. If Disney bought Dragon Ball Z, I would be very, very worried. It could go the Marvel route,
Oh God, no.
or it could go the Star Wars route.
Nope, neither one.
I would much prefer the Marvel route because, hey, at least it's...
DBZ doesn't need to be live action.
Here's the thing.
No, it doesn't need to be
Ever.
live action. I agree with that.
Here's the thing with the Marvel thing, like the Marvel success. Marvel had that going pretty well before Disney bought it.
No, that's
Yeah,
true.
pretty
I
much.
Now
agree.
that Endgame and that whole cycle is gone, I think it's going to be kind of a gradual downhill.
I think it is because of the route they're going now. Let's see. What's it called? Not that one.
I mean, the route of let's make spin-offs of every character,
No.
every side character in every movie we made.
Under the Skin. That's the name of the movie.
I feel like I've heard of that.
It's an interesting concept. It's just, you know, it's mainly known for the one movie where she
Shows her tits.
no everything.
Wow. No.
She reveals all. I remember my friend. He was just like, "Oh, dude, just watch this movie." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Just watch this movie." I'm like, "Oh, isn't that the one where like she's like an alien or some shit like that?" Yeah. Okay.
Alien titties.
Kind of. It's almost like the Maxim the Parasite. I don't know if you ever seen that anime, but it's sort of like that, except it's very boring.
Never seen
Good
it.
sales pitch.
I don't know what to say. I watched the movie. I watched it. I'm just like,
It wasn't a good movie other than her tits.
no. Well, even then, dude, it was disappointing.
All right, we got any other memes?
Sounds like a disappointing movie.
Bro Man donated another $5.
Thank you,
Thank
bro,
you,
man.
Bro, man.
Apex
Bro.
memes get mixed.
Bro,
Bruh.
man, Jew. Oh no! Hey there, Georgie.
What in the hell?
Oh God.
Vera doing?
Oh my God. Are you serious? I think this is modded Apex. I don't know.
Never say never, Nick.
It's just all Photoshop.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
Goosebumps.
Not you, zombie!
Oh, hello. Uh-oh. Oh, is this like a zombie mode that they put in Apex?
I'm not sure.
I think
I've
it
never played
is.
Apex, but
Oh God, that theme is. I know what that's from. That's from Super Mario 64. Whenever you get to the 70-star door and you don't have 70 stars, it's an endless staircase, and it just keeps going. It's
That
like,
would piss me off.
oh, dude, it's Bowser's final fight too. You beat that, you win the game.
So you have to like backtrack and go to like.
No, you have to get 70 stars. You see, that door is readily available. Like every like boss door is readily available to you in the first area that you're in, but you have to get enough stars in order to open it. But this one you can open, but
It'll just go on for.
yeah, it just goes on forever. It's pretty much like an ultimate tease. And it's also kind of terrifying. But there's actually someone who figured out a way to like jump glitch it. There's a whenever you do if you do like the backwards jump enough, you're like jumping backwards like hoo hoo hoo, and you actually turn around enough, you can actually like jump up the stairs and beat like the endless staircase. I've seen them do it. I'm just like, this person has spent too much time in this game. I am glad I have a life. But yeah, any more memes, Nick?
So in chat said apparently that was a game mode in Apex during Halloween.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So Gaming Warhog donated one. This is the last one for the moment.
Okay.
Oh, he didn't actually say anything.
Ah, that's two that he's done that with.
No, he didn't say.
Would you rather life be a real
Oh.
afterlife or no death? Real afterlife, obviously. Although you never specify if this afterlife is good or not. It could be fucking hell. Is it worth the risk?
Let's just call it the real afterlife.
afterlife where there's a hell and a heaven sort of thing.
Okay,
I
think traditional.
I think there's a bias with everyone wanting to stay on Earth because we're attached to what we're doing currently, kind of thing. Whether obviously heaven would be 1,000 times better than this. Look from let's hear what each of our ideal afterlives are.
That's a good thing. All right, we'll start with Max.
I'm gonna say Frank's is gonna be a little pussy.
Yeah, we'll start with Max. What's your idea of the afterlife? Don't include religion. Just what's your idea of the afterlife?
Idea or ideal?
What do you believe when you die?
What did you say? Ideal afterlife? Your ideal afterlife.
Yeah.
Ideal?
Yeah.
I feel like ideal afterlife is too attached to what we fucking are right now. It's too much. Sort of thing like. So you're gonna choose like, pussy on every wall so I can go stick my dick in each pussy. No, but I feel like that's what you.
Damn, that's a hell of a combo there, Dubs.
What you're saying is there are things that it's so attached to our physical. Absolutely, I feel like the absolute what actual afterlife would be completely uncomprehendable to what we have right now as anything that we consider happening.
Agreed.
Like a whole variety of pussies. Yeah, a bunch of fucking pussies on the wall. Let's just go with that. Fuck. Well, what's your? Too damn filthy. Who gives a shit?
I think heaven would be boring.
That would be boring. Me, you know what my ideal afterlife
big kid
is?
community in the clouds that you got to follow a whole bunch of rules there too. Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, personally, my ideal afterlife is just peace and serenity. I guess for people who have lived lives who've just lived a normal life.
Mine is I get to be a cool ball of energy that gets to travel the multiverse and see what all kinds of life are out there, what all the expanse of the universe.
That'd be
I'm going to be playing
multiverse.
a heavy metal concert with Slayer in hell. I'm going to be right front row, and I'm going to be hammered drunk for eternity. This is jamming.
There was actually a funny bit. There was a guy. It was John Boy and Billy in the morning. They talked about Jerry Garcia in 1996 when Jerry Garcia died. He went to the afterlife, and they were just like, oh, he was like, oh man, what happened? And the guy's just like, a guy comes up to him, he's like, you died, man. He's like, far out, dude. And
far out, man.
And then all of a sudden he's just like, all right, Jerry, you've actually been selected. You are going to be part of a mega group. And Jerry's like, for real, man?
Word.
Like, who am I? Like, no, he's not. He's nowhere near that hip. Jerry was a hippie supreme. He was the lead singer of the Grateful Dead, and God, that guy did more acid than Jimi Hendrix, and still lived into his 50s. That's amazing. But anyway, he's sitting there, and he's like, so man, who else is in the band? He's like, well, we have John Lennon, Jim Morrison. And we have one new kid, Kurt Cobain. And it's just like, they're just like, all right, cool, man. So what kind of songs are we gonna be playing? And he's like, it'll be songs made by the lead singer. It's like, well, who's the lead singer, man? All of a sudden, Karen Carpenter comes walking out the door, like the Carpenters, and all of a sudden he's like, what? You mean we're only gonna be playing Karen Carpenter tracks, dude? I mean, come on, man. What kind of version of heaven is this? And then the guy looks back at him and says, "Who the hell said this was heaven?"
Yeah, no, this is hell.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah,
what is a song from Carpenters I'm blanking on?
There's one's called "Top of the World." I think it's like I'm on the top of the. It's like easy listening shit of the 60s and 70s. Yeah, and all due respect to Karen Carpenter, she had a lovely voice, but she was a terrible songwriter. And also, all sympathy to her and her family because of, Karen and her untimely death. But, shit happens. But
mine would be with all the metal gods.
I know.
Dio, Dimebag, Randy Rhoads.
I'd kill if I could meet Dime, man. If I could meet Dime once and just shake his hand and tell him thank you for all the hard rocking out you provided in my life. Thank you so much. Randy Rhoads.
Guitar pick here, man. Take this pick, man. Get you a pull.
If I could have 1% of the talent that Dimebag Darrell had, I'd be awesome. Because Dime was a god, in my opinion. I mean, just that one.
He was a guitar god.
Well, to me, dude, the personification of him like performing live. Just watch their performance of Domination in Russia when they played live. It was the first time Russia ever opened its doors to Western audiences or Western artists, and the Russians were pretty much unanimous. We want metal. We want heavy metal. And they invited the monsters of rock over. They had Metallica, AC/DC, Motley Crue, friggin' Pantera. They had like a who's who of like rock and metal gods. And they get over there, and the Russian police interpret them moshing as like a riot, and the Russian police just go in and start beating the shit out of all of them.
Hey, it's not a metal show unless somebody's teeth get knocked out. You know? It's very fitting. I mean, hell, at least at the part when they're moshing, they can fight back.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's one of the biggest concerts ever. I think over 500,000 people showed up in this airfield in Russia just to see these bands. Well, dude, it's the Iron. It was the day. It was like literally the Iron Curtain was falling, and all this stuff that they were not allowed to enjoy, not allowed to see, was finally readily available to them. And it's just like, holy shit. Like, Phil Anselmo himself said when he looked out and he saw a sea of over 500,000 people, he literally just, like, was in awe
it's like
of that
staring
sea
out
of
to the
humanity.
endless ocean of people, man. It's
Yeah.
It's too much. I gotta go.
James Hetfield, same thing. James was just like, and this is just after we released the Black Album. People were going fucking nuts. Like, we were out there, and we were just playing away, and, like, people were just, like, screaming so loud, like, we could barely hear ourselves. And it's just, dude, when you deprive people of something for so long, and then they're finally able to experience freedom, it's just like, good God. It's like they didn't know what they were missing.
Well, hopefully the people of China will get to experience that freedom.
That'd be one thing I could change about time. You know, you got all the people talking about witchcraft and all that Satanism. I'd like to take like a death metal CD for like, I don't know, Vader or Cataclysm or something. Take it way back in time to like the 30s and like I would be executed on sight. They would be like, what is this you play?
I've thought about that, you know, like, as far as like what would happen if you brought such and such like this invention or whatever into the past. And I think a lot of it just kind of, you know, the way we develop things, it's all about timing and stuff. And if you try to do that,
but I mean, I could see it, like, you know, Elvis gets done, you know, young Elvis he's just now getting on show, he gets done playing his gig, and now the next band, Cataclysm, this song is called In Shadows and Dust, and I
feel like it would just be, it would be like a more extreme reaction to like what you see in Back to the Future.
No, there would have been a riot. Everyone would have came up on stage and
extreme.
unanimously just ripped him to shreds.
You'd have to have like the fire and the pyro and the pentagrams and the giant fire crosses like that.
Really, well, back then, like in Back to the Future, it was
that's what I'm saying. Like, you'd have been shot.
You would have really.
You know, if you were in the South with those fiery crosses, all of a sudden, certain people would just been like, "Hell yeah! I mean, this is the devil's work."
Yeah, no, in Back to the Future, that was 1950s. That's
1955.
That's McCarthy era.
Oh yeah.
Scare,
especially if you had all the red around you. If you had all that red around, not only is he a Satan worshiper, he's a communist.
Socialist.
He's a communist.
Well, Cataclysm metal with a red. Good point.
You guys ready to see the characters?
Oh yeah.
Newest character.
Actually, we had one more meme. We had one more meme submitted. Two more. Damn.
Money. So you talk about metal, so enjoy this.
Oh no! What do we got?
Metal.
What do we got?
I just want to see the Sword Art Online parody with like what's it called? You know the thing, right?
Sword Art Online Abridged?
Yeah, Abridged with that one metal song.
Oh,
Glory Hammer. This band's been out for quite some time. Same keyboardist from, I believe the keyboardist is from, what is that band? What's the pirate metal band?
Oh, I forget.
No, it's...
See, from what little I know about Warhammer 40k, I feel like heavy metal music would just fit perfectly in that universe.
Oh, that's what the creators have said.
Hailstorm.
The creators have said that. Oh yeah, heavy metal is like.
This is what everybody like. They put on the music before they go into battle.
Well, yeah, classic British heavy metal is what the creators love the most. They love like Black Sabbath, King Diamond. They love like Saxon and all the.
I just love guitar, man. I like good guitar and I like good drums and I like powerful vocals that actually like are fun. You know, I like fun music. This is definitely one of the nerdiest bands there are, but it's very good, very catchy. So this is that fucking riff, man. No.
Okay, and
By the way, I like it. Thank you for that.
That was good. That was very good. Thank you.
oh, he sent the second part of the song too.
Oh shit.
But, Mitchell Burt donated $1 and said you may need to play this one back to get it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I got it.
Yep.
I got it.
So instead of throwing the gun away, you should have took it and threw
Threw
it
it at the
at
person like a tomahawk.
That guy's voice is actually really good too. Very powerful.
Here it goes.
Kind of sounds like that Dragon Force or whatever.
Kind of.
Same genre.
Yeah, power metal.
There you go. Explorer guitars are comfortable to play.
Yeah.
They just don't stand on a guitar stand very well.
Well, it's an Explorer body with an Ibanez head.
Yep.
It's awesome.
It's actually got a different cut at the bottom too. Ibanez wizard necks are awesome. Some of the fastest necks you can get, really. First.
Oh, key switch. Gigantic space submarines.
It's better than the Yamato space battleship.
Yamato cannon online.
Yamato.
Literally
Like
just a
on
battleship. in
StarCraft, they got
space.
the Yamato cannons.
I always like CGI type like music videos, especially when they have a story to them.
Yeah.
Like
No, I like that.
I remember back in the day with Linkin Park with what was it? Forfeit the Game, I think.
Oh
Where
yeah.
They had kind of like a
Or,
it almost
that's Points of Authority.
Points of Authority.
Yeah,
Right, where
forfeit
it,
the game before somebody else
it-
takes you out of the
it
frame.
kinda almost had like
Put your name
a-
to shame, cover up your face. You can't run the race, the pace is
too
too fast. You just won't last. Dun, 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 dun. I love that
they
riff.
had like some kind of like almost felt like similar to like Final Fantasy Spirits of Within sort of animation thing going on.
My favorite one that they did in terms of animation was Breaking the Habit. That was my favorite one that they did because of the animation style and the subject matter. It's talking about recovering from addiction and just getting over one's depression and everything. And I know there's people out there who say, "Oh, it's just it's just emo tripe." It's like it's a lot more than that, guys. It's a lot more than that.
All right, so we'll get to the new character here in just a second. I just wanted to go mention. So the other character, he had some weapons that it didn't like. They were too large for him the way I needed him to function, especially with being a samurai and stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted him to be a little bit more flexible. Whereas Tomek, he's kind of more of a berserker character as far as he's going to be taking large hit stuff. Especially with the way their feet structure is and stuff, they're not going to be super stable and stuff.
No.
They're more of that move in fast for a hard hit, but you don't. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
Also, the gigantic friggin' axe.
The battle axe.
Yeah, and also there's.
So I gave him, basically I kind of switched over. So he's no longer the automatic rifleman. He basically is the special weapons expert and the communication specialist on the team. So I gave him high energy weapons here. So the weapons there on the right, you can probably zoom in there. But one, I gave him a revolver mainly because he's from Texas, and so I kind of felt he deserves a revolver.
Could you imagine a big green dude like that all of a sudden come to be like, "Howdy, y'all."
Yeah.
Welcome,
he's gonna have manners and stuff too.
Yeah,
See, I expect some commander being like, "You're American." No, ma'am, I'm from Texas.
No, ma'am, I'm from.
But
Texas.
it'll be like that, Garrus Vicarian, kind of
yes.
flanging
No, ma'am,
voice.
I am from Texas.
Well, it'll still be a Texas drawl,
Texas accent, but with that voice modulator on it.
Yeah, it'll be weird. But if you want to zoom in on the far right there with those two weapons, I'll just mention what's going on there real quick.
There
So the big thing there, the shoulder-mounted weapon. So that's basically it's kind of like an anti-armor sort of weapon. Basically, it can fire the projectile there. It can either fire it like a railgun, like all the others, or it'll actually use what's called magnetic induction heating to basically melt the projectile. And form what's known as a magneto-hydrodynamic cannon. You know what the Reapers use in Mass Effect?
Yes.
The red beams. Apparently, that's like molten metal. They're basically firing.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and so it's supposed to be more effective than like a railgun. And so that just kind of gives them more options where it's firing at such a high velocity that it kind of acts like a particle cannon.
Yeah.
On the lower there, that's basically a plasma weapon. It pretty much is firing like plasmoids. Sort of kind of like the plasma submachine gun in Doom.
Yeah.
But a little bit less cartoonish.
A little beefier too.
Yeah, I mean it'll have a lot more like a oomph to it. The shots won't be as rapid fire. And trying to stick with a little bit of realism and stuff. One of the big issues with like actual plasma weapons is with atmospheric when you have atmosphere in between like air and stuff, you get a lot of thermal blooming. Basically, the ball of plasma is going to want to basically dissipate, but it's also going to impact with all of the air between you and the target, and so it'll gradually lose its energy. In this case, it's using basically the gas will be pumped into the chamber of the weapon, superheated into plasma, and then in that canister, there's also ferromagnetic nanoparticles that basically get formed into a protective shell around it.
Yeah.
So it'll fire that, and when it hits you, it's basically like a long-range flamethrower because they're basically getting hit by like million. Well, I don't know how high exactly.
Plasma, then.
Yeah, I mean it's several thousands of degrees.
Basically, it's like a plasma cutter, except when it hits you and just kind of goes up.
It's basically like a incendiary weapon, pretty much, and so you can use it for a lot of things. But it's going to be pretty good for anti-personnel. So. But yeah, that's the main.
So you can shoot them in the foot, basically, and they're gonna be you hopping.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Obviously, when it comes to like showing it in games and movies and stuff, you kind of have to scale these things for the plot. As far as certain characters have to have plot armor and stuff, and so they might have certain effects that they wouldn't like if you describe it in like a book or something. Like in Halo, like the plasma weapons of the Covenant use when they're described in the books, they melt through like anything the UNSC has, like tanks, bunkers, everything. It just melts through. But in the game,
it does nothing.
Yeah, in the game, you can watch a Marine get hit like 40 times with a plasma rifle, and it does nothing.
Yeah,
it just makes his armor glow.
Well, there's explanation ones that make it sound worse than it is. Then there's the realistic like battle. That's for instance like Gears of War. Like Gears of War. I always wondered why they're able to take so much damage and then recover and everything. Turns out the excuse for that is that the cog suit that they have actually has a regenerative purpose.
Well, they're like they're like genetically augmented.
The newer
too,
ones,
right?
yes. The newer soldiers, yeah. But like the old school soldiers, like Marcus, Dom,
I was wondered why they
Baird,
looked like fucking bodybuilders. Yeah.
Well, they were just like naturally big dudes.
Yeah.
Like you see, it doesn't take place on Earth; it takes place on Sarah.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Is this from like a higher gravity world? But then they like show other humans that are like more normal size. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, no, I mean, okay. For instance, you see someone like me. I'm like 6'2". I weigh about right now. I'm about 300. I'm not the most rock solid kind of dude out there. Look at Dave Bautista and Brock Lesnar. Those two guys are 6'3" to 6'6", 270 pounds, chiseled out of granite, and are two of the toughest human beings on planet Earth. Same thing with like Booker Huffman. Booker Huffman's 6'5" and a very solid 250, and the dude is tough. Tough. I mean, like hard fighting sons of bitches.
Go ahead and go to the other.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the reason why Gears of War, there are people out there who are just that big and just that strong, and you got to think in a world like that, those guys would naturally be more have an apprehension to be soldiers.
No.
Yeah. But
go ahead and go to the other image there, Nick. So this guy, this is Osamakatsu Ryomoto. So he, kind of interesting with the backstory for him. His family kind of has, like his extended family kind of has some shady ties with like the Yakuza. Whatever the Yakuza is.
Yeah.
Whatever the Yakuza is in the future. I imagine the Yakuza, like even like today, they're not as like mafia-esque. They have like a kind of more gray zone as far as their
they're more of a political movement now than they are like a mafioso
than an organized
type.
criminal.
Yeah, this ain't the 1940s anymore where they pretty much control like a lot of the slums in Japan. Don't get me wrong, they still control some slums, but they're more of a political movement now. But they have these black vans that go around spouting propaganda.
Yeah. But I imagine that it'll be kind of, you'll have certain kind of organized crime in some sense in the future. And so I imagine the Yakuza could kind of fit in that sort of scenario. You always see kind of like cyberpunk feel like that.
Yeah.
And so, he kind of has a little bit of ties from that. Now, he's tried to get to kind of distance himself from that by like joining the military. He actually joins the Office of Defense Intelligence into like their intelligence branch and became basically like a special intelligence operator, kind of like sort of like a spy, like a deep cover operator. And there he learned a bunch of skills and and so he comes out of that and joins the Spectre Legion, and so he's kind of more or less like the stoic, quiet character, very intimidating and stuff. Actually, if you can, Nick, pull up and go to YouTube and type in Tilk interrogation.
Oh, Stargate. Yeah. I don't know when you're
because that's
about.
exactly what I kind of want from him, where he just sits down at the interrogation table. He doesn't have to say anything, and whoever he's interrogating will just fucking sing like a bird because they'll be fucking scared of him.
Well, intimidation's a big factor, and plus, I wouldn't mess with Chris Judge, especially if you've seen him now. The dude's huge. He's jacked to the gills.
Dr. Lane was reluctant to accompany us back to SGC. He required us to be convinced.
All I'm saying is we have to be careful. We're operating way outside our jurisdiction, and like it or not, this man has rights.
He will volunteer the information. Of that, I am certain.
Sometimes silence can drive someone mad. Don't even have to say anything.
Get him, Kratos. Come on.
Look, this is a waste of time. I got nothing to say.
Boy, shut your tongue.
You will say what I tell you to say, boy.
Okay, yes, I took the mimic devices. I switched them with the face, but I didn't know what they were planning to do with them.
Good.
What? You think I'm part of some kind of murder conspiracy? Well, you're wrong.
Doesn't even have to say
Just to
anything.
lean in just a little bit.
Anything else you would like to say?
I'll tell you what I know. You have to promise me protection.
Anyways, all right.
That's Tilk.
But that's kind
That's
of
pure Tilk right there, man.
So-
That's how he goes.
You can exit out of that.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to help you, but right now I'm more concerned for my well-being.
So that's what I imagine. His nickname is Oz because Oz.
Yeah.
But that's what I imagine Oz kind of being able to. He just kind of sits down at the table and just through sheer
Just
visible
gives him
intimidation.
the squinty eye.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he wouldn't even have to. I imagine him. He wouldn't even have to like have his weapons on him. He'd just walk in.
Oh,
with
he's
just like,
he's just to be clear, he's 2 meters tall. Like he's 6'6". He's a tall guy. Just because based on like with the rate of how
Human
humans
height.
have become better, you can kind of extrapolate that and imagine that people will be taller in the future and stuff.
Yeah.
And so so he's a tall dude, and he's you can see on his arms there he's got some muscle on him. He's pretty fit, but expanding what he needs to be because he's got that Kanabo there.
So pretty much this guy's gonna be like I know there's a wrestler out there. His name is what's his? I'm gonna Okada, Kazuchika Okada.
Mm-hmm.
He's like 6'3", chiseled, like big arms and everything, and he has a very silent way of just dealing with his opponents. Like his opponents talk all this trash. He just walks up, has the belt over his shoulder. He just picks up the belt, holds it up, and just goes.
Hey, less is more. Yeah.
And then just gives that smirk, and then just puts the belt back on his shoulder, turns around, and walks away.
Go ahead and zoom in a little bit there. Nick.
Okada's one of my favorite Japanese wrestlers ever.
So he for him he graduated from the Sun Tzu Military Academy a master's in psychology and stuff, and so he uses the psychology skills and everything not just on enemies for interrogation and stuff. He uses it on himself as far as taking in that samurai kind of mentality, Bushido and stuff like that. Now obviously that's not really super practical in the real world, but maybe it can help you in a combat type situation.
It's good to have it as a moral centrism whenever you or the Bushido the Bushido, and having the having that as a base in some ways can help you deal with more real world stuff, especially you have that as an example versus real world experience. As long as you're not ignorant of how the real world is, you should be okay.
With him, I gave him a lot of the weapons that Tom had. The light machine gun there, which the machine gun with a quick barrel change can fire 7.62 or 12.7 millimeter rounds. So he's got a little bit, maybe 5.56. I don't know. But he got the backpack rocket launcher type thing, the back launched brawler missile launcher there. And then you can scroll to the right there. You can see his Kanabo.
Yeah, Kanabo, that's a traditional samurai
it's the where
it was a shield buster.
Yeah,
back
basically
in the day.
it's like your mace wielder in feudal Europe kind of version. Basically, it was meant to take out people's bones or horses' legs and stuff like that. I mean, in the game For Honor, I think, where you had the big kind of sumo wrestler looking dude with a Kanabo, man. It's that heavy hitter, and that's what he is. He's one of the tanks on the team, kind of. And,
okay. He's close range, but yet he's close to mid range. He's not like a sniper or he's assault specialist. He's just in close range, not a berserker type, but very deadly in close range.
Yeah. and like with his flag, so he's I try and like I said before, I've used try and use real star systems where we've seen like potentially habitable planets. So the system he's from is actually Gliesa 667, which is a trinary star system. And so when I try and design these flags, I try and utilize things from the countries they're coming from. So like i.e. Japan for him. I try to get like that simple circle in the middle on a white flag. And taking aspects of their environment. So with having the 3 stars actually with the Mitsutomo, which is the cool three-armed spiral thing there, kind of basically forms kind of like those 3 suns that are in the trinary star system. And like the pink ring there around that is actually the color of the vegetation on the planet. It's the Gliesa 667cc because it orbits just one of the stars. It's most likely tidally locked to the planet. It's always going to have one side facing, so you're only going to get like vegetation stuff around like the sunrise band. Basically, it's called the Terminator line, and so I imagine because of the color, the temperature and color, and the size of the sun versus what it is on here on Earth, it just makes more like for the plants evolution wise. They developed more to have like a pink foliage or something.
Okay,
but
interesting. And also that ties into like the cherry blossom kind of thing.
And that's why the planet is called Sakura. They knew that the country is I think is the Federal Polity of Sakura, and so he's a Sakuran.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But, that's
very cool, man.
So that is 6 characters down. I got my second in command of the team to go, and then I got Big Forearm Guy, which I've made some modifications for them. I've gotten the weapons on arms and everything. And his secondary is going to be pretty cool. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to actually put him on a poster. It's going to be a little difficult.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, if you do one like this where you can actually like zoom in and stuff like that, for us here, that's not that hard to
no,
do.
yeah. I mean, I can put it on like this big field. I just meant more of like printing it out on poster is going to be tricky.
That'll be a bit difficult.
But yeah, I got that, and then a couple other characters that I have kind of morphed into the team. So 4 characters to go, 6 down, 4 to go.
Nice.
So
all right. So that's 2 more characters in the Axiom Continuum by Roan. So yeah, he's always creating, always creating. You still got to send me like an OBJ file of that ship of yours.
So the ship I'm going to now that I got this, I kind of like trying to get these out every couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'll try and look at it here tonight or the next few days and see, because it's a very simple geometry to it.
Yeah.
I think, although the FTL system I'm going with is going to be a little bit more complex, that I got to see if I can 3D generate that. But let me play around with some stuff and see if I can do something with what I got so far. But yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
do we got anything else we want to talk about?
Not really. We had a meme or 2 submitted.
You want to go ahead and
how many we got, Nick? Nick, you all right?
Pulling it back up.
Okay, sorry.
My phone died. So.
Okay, just one.
Sure.
All right. Uno mas. We got one more meme, and then we're probably gonna call it an evening. This has been good. This has been very good. I'm very happy.
So the last one is from the Gaming Warthog.
All right.
Gaming Warthog.
It's a Poma.
What's the food like here? What's good?
I know. Oh no. Hey, don't order the burrito, dog. I don't think I'm gonna make it. McDonald's burritos are terrible. I gotta take a full. Oh, fuck!
God damn.
That's funny.
Say, hey there, little boy.
Oh, hi, mister.
Just having a good day?
Yeah, I came here to get a couple chicken tendies after school.
Chicken tendies. Hey there, you want some chicken tendies?
I got died.
Wow. He's dying, dude.
Damn it, dude.
Some chicken tendies.
Chicken tendies got me, Brian. That's funny.
So you're here for some chicken tenders?
Oh, yeah, for some. They're both dying.
The voice is too f***ing good. It's like, I feel like I'm actually about to get
Wow.
I got all the chicken tenders you can ever need in here. Some coloring books and crayons. All the colors.
Wait, do you have magenta?
Come here.
Come
I
on
don't
in.
know about this.
I'll tell
My
you all
mom
about
told me
that.
not to talk to strangers in the McDonald's parking lot. But if you said you got a magenta grand, dude, hang on a second. That's not a nugget.
That's my penis.
Perfectly timed.
That was perfect. That was so perfectly timed. Hey, that's not a chicken nugget. That's my penis.
All right.
Say that, muscly on paper boy. You want to come in for some pot roast? I got some thick meats, some marinade in there. Yeah, you gonna marinate it real good. Mmm. Sorry,
We
I'll
did
stop.
that shit for like 2
Ask if you want
hours.
a cock meat sandwich
Well,
in
but-
that voice.
Say that, young man. You want yourself a cock meat sandwich? Harold and Kumar. God, I remember that. It's like, don't worry, Big Bob's taking care of it. Big Bob? Oh, never mind. Hey, enjoy, boys. 'Cause I got a lot of meat here for you.
Jesus.
Oh God.
Don't need that vision.
No, I don't. All right. All right. So yeah, I guess that's gonna do it. That little endeavor there at the end kind of tapped the tank out. So again, everybody, thank you all very much for tuning in, and thank you all very much for all of your meme submissions. We hope that we rocked out and laughed properly at the ones that you sent us. And we hope that you enjoyed our sparkling conversations, whether it was about Sonic and Harley Quinn at the beginning, or whether it was about our geopolitical theory and also our theories about energy and
because we just talk about everything.
We try.
It just kind of goes on a.
We ramble. Hence the name of the podcast, Renegades Ramble. So yeah. Hey Wildcat, offer still stands, man. If you want to be on here, feel free to let us know, man. I mean, I've sent you a few emails and I've talked to you and everything. So hey, we're waiting to hear from you. I know you started your own podcast, and hey, if you want to invite us down, I know we're nowhere near as popular as say like Mini Lad or Cryos or Smitty or any of them, but we'd be more than happy to.
We could be fun too.
Good night, everybody. Take care.
We didn't say our names.
If you want to say our
They
names,
know it at this point.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Nate.
I'm Roan.
I'm Nick.
We'll see you later, everybody.